Hey, good morning everyone. It's John with Vermont Homesteader, and it's Saturday, September 14th, and it's opening day, New Jersey archery season. And as you can see, I'm camoed up, head to toe. Took my dead downwind scent removal shower. All the clothes have been washed in dead downwind, and they've been out on the clothesline for like 2 weeks. And it's about 4:45 in the morning. The sun comes up and shooting time is at 6:10, and we're going to drive to the stand here pretty soon and get in early to just sit real quiet in the dark for, I don't know, about 45 minutes before shooting time. So hopefully it'll be a good day. In New Jersey, we got to shoot a doe before we can shoot a buck, so that's the mission this morning, is try and shoot a doe and get some good meat for the freezer for this winter. And my daughter's here also, and my oldest son as well. And we're gonna all try and get some deer on the ground. And I'll take you along with me. I'll do some video from the tree, some video of the actual shot, and then the blood trailing, and then cleaning the deer out and butchering it. We're not actually going to butcher down here. We're going to just take the large chunks of meat off the deer and put it on ice, and we'll bring it home and butcher it there into its select cuts and get it in the freezer. And some of it we're going to can too. So I'll take you along with me. This is always an exciting day for us here in the family, and we eat venison. That's what we eat. We're not into the beef as much as we are harvesting our own meat from the wild and putting it in the freezer. I'll talk to you from a tree. Shot fired. Looked good. Right behind the shoulder. I think I heard her crash. We'll go check in a little bit. So it's a good day. Got deer down, and I've gotten out of the tree. As you can see, I'm on the ground, and now it's time to track. I'm going to track the first one first because it was shot earlier, and I'm pretty sure I heard it crash real close, so I know approximately where it ran, and I'm going to try and find some blood and trail it. You can come with me. Oh, here's some. Right there on the tree. After you shoot a deer, you always want to watch where they run, especially this time of year, because there's so much foliage. It's hard to find the blood sometimes. Here's some more on this tree. Right there, that branch, and then down here on these leaves. And then you also have to look at the terrain. Like, this is kind of gnarly for a deer to run through, but there's clearly a path under this right here. So I'm gonna bet she went this way. Though, even though I don't see any blood right now. And always pick your head up and look out. And actually I see her. Even though I don't have any more blood since those two, I see her. She is right there, laying flat on the ground. Walk over there and take a look at her. Nice doe, nice New Jersey doe. Probably about 80 pounds. Good eating right there. She didn't go 30 yards and expired, and that's what you want. You want to try and get them close, and get them close and make good shots. I just want to thank God for this deer and the food that she's going to provide us. Love to watch them, but also love to eat them. So besides my deer this morning, my daughter Nikia got a deer as well, and we're going to show you how to gut a deer out and get it ready to bring home for processing. Here we go. First you make an incision in the belly. You just want to get under the hair. There's actually two cuts we're going to make. The first one's going to slice the hair, and then the second cut is going to actually slice open the abdominal cavity, where you got to be really careful. Or you can just make one cut to the abdominal cavity and cut that from the beginning. You can do it either way.
That's why I freaking just got the guts.
Yeah, get right.
I need you to hold her up like this if you can. Can you record and do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to try this gut hook. It's a new knife, so we don't know how it's going to work. Ah, that's how a gut hook is supposed to work. It catches the skin and it makes it easy to slice it up, and then you don't have to worry about cutting open the actual intestines, which makes a mess inside the deer. That gut hook works pretty good. And you can see there's no blood initially. It's when you cut through the diaphragm after we get the
intestines partially out, that's when it starts to bleed. Unless you shoot it in the intestines, which you're not supposed to shoot it there. Now she's going to start cutting around the diaphragm, and that'll allow blood from the heart-lung area in.
This knife is a lot better.
You always got to be careful. You don't want to cut yourself cutting a deer open, because it is the internals of an animal and there's lots of bacteria. I mean, I've done it before and lived just fine, but if you can help it. That knife's a lot better, huh?
This knife is very sharp.
Yes, it's very sharp. I'm warning you, do not touch your skin with it. Once the diaphragm's cut, then you can roll. We should roll the intestines out. Just roll them out. And then, here, grab a hold of the large intestine at the base and cut it. You okay? No? Kia's pregnant. She doesn't like smells right now. Once the diaphragm's all cut, then you reach way up in the chest cavity and find the trachea and the esophagus, and you cut them and everything comes out together. You might just have some small connective tissues you gotta cut. And then you can pull the heart and the lungs, diaphragm right out.
That's where my broadhead.
Yep, went through the lung. Yep. And like I said, there's usually some connective tissue that you might just have to trim off. You roll everything out. There you go. That's it, and you can see where she sliced the lung right here. She uses a 3-blade broadhead, and it went right through, and that's why the deer died quickly. I didn't show you on mine, but mine sliced the heart. It literally, here's the heart on her deer, but mine just like literally sliced it in half. And that's why my deer died quickly. Now we're going to drain some blood out, and we're going to get it in the truck and bring it home, hang it up, and get the meat off it as fast as we can, because it's supposed to be 85 today, and we don't want to lose the meat. So we made it home and we're cutting up our meat here. We got a bowl for scraps, which will go in the compost. We got a bowl for stew meat, and we got a bowl for burger, and sadly I already cut up the back strap because I forgot to turn the video on. But so we're just taking these chunks of meat that look kind of gnarly, and we get all the fat off, and then we end up with nice red cuts of meat. This is from the hind quarter, and you can slice this like this and turn it into hind steaks, or you can then take the hind steak and slice it up into little cubes, which is what we're doing today, and it makes stew meat. It's also the meat we use for our hibachi meat when we make rice and meat. But you can do a lot of things with this. You could also brine it in a brown sugar and maple syrup, or you could salt it, or whatever type of brine you'd want to use, and then you can hang it and smoke it and get a really nice piece of smoked meat. Once it's cooked and smoked, you could then slice it for like sandwich meat, or you could just make it as a roast in the oven and have a smoked roast. So we're going to keep going here and cut up this venison that we have here from our harvest the other day. To get it here, we put all the meat in a cooler. We put the cooler on ice. We changed the ice out at one point and put new ice in, because you don't want to freeze the meat. You just want to keep it cool, which is still pretty cold, even though it's been out here on the table and we've been cutting it up. But here I'm just cutting it up into little rectangles, little squares, and this is what we do with our stew meat and our hibachi meat. And it's venison. It's one of the leanest meats. I mean, you can see there's like no fat in it at all. It's very healthy for you. I'll probably do another video when I get a buck, bigger deer with a lot of meat on it, because then I'll probably make some bacon. We actually will smoke some roasts. So there's going to be a lot of videos having to do with meat processing from here through the winter. Different things that we do with venison, so that we have a variety of different meals throughout the winter. I'll put this one aside. Like, if you want to just cut that and leave it, that's a great little steak right there. Just throw that in the cast iron with a little onion, little garlic, little olive oil, and it's just, oh, it's tasty. It melts in your mouth. But here, I'm going to take this piece and show you when it has all the fat on it. Basically just want to get underneath this white connective tissue or fat and slice down, and you get this whole strip of connective tissue. We just slice it right down like that, and then it's going to go in our garbage bowl. The only time you leave the fat on with venison, or pretty much anything you're cutting, is with the bacon. With the bacon, there's all kinds of white marbling. That's a different fat, though. It's like it's almost like beef fat. It's really thick. It kind of crumbles in your hand like suet, and that's what you have in your belly meat, which is what you use for bacon. And that actually will melt in the pan like pork bacon fat does. The connective tissue, the really thin stuff, that will not melt away, and it's just chewy. It's nasty. You don't want it in there. So all the thin stuff like this we cut out. Cut it right off the deer and get rid of it. We're just gonna keep going at this until till it's all done. And really there's a methodology to it. You got to find your own. Like I said, you can do so many different things with it. Some of this I'm going to use as stew meat. Some of it I'm going to use it as burger meat. Our burger, we then add bacon and cheddar cheese to it, grind it right in with it, and then you have bacon cheddar burgers, and then throw another slice of cheese on it once you've cooked it on the grill. We also take the burger meat and we'll make sausage out of it, and I'll do a video probably dedicated just to that, having to do with our deer sausage. And sometimes you just leave it as a burger. Use it with pasta, or you can do hamburger helper, or whatever you want to do. You decide. So there's really no correct way to do it. You just got to get in here, get the different chunks of meat, separate it out, and then just make a decision what you want to do with it. Every deer we do it differently too. Like I said, this piece of meat, sometimes I make steak out of it. If I know I'm short on steak, I'll make steak. If I know I'm short on stew, I'll chunk it up, make it stew. If I'm short on burger or sausage, I'll grind it. So whatever we need at the time is what we'll do. And you probably can't see this on the video, but there's a clear division line right here. You can see the lighter meat versus the darker meat, and there's actually a piece of connective tissue right there, and I'm going to cut right down the line and separate those two pieces of meat. Now this big red long piece is separated from that short lighter colored piece. I mean, you can get technical with it. You can do all the studying and get the correct pieces of meat that, like, you cut up a cow, all the different names, and cut them exactly how they're supposed to be, but you're going to be processing your deer for a long time if you do that. And there's just no need for it. You're going to find out that your family likes certain things, like we like to do hibachi meat and stews. So it's important to chunk some up. We like to do some steaks, and we like our burger and our sausage. So we pretty much stick to that. And like I said, it all depends on what I've got in the freezer at the time, how we'll cut up each deer. And that's what we do with it. And in fact, some of the backstrap I put in the fridge, because we're going to have fresh backstrap steak for dinner tonight with some rice. And it's going to be yummy. So we have some stew meat done. And how we store it, there's two ways you can store it as far as I'm concerned. One is you put it in bags and then you vacuum seal it, or you can in your meat, which I'm not going to do on this deer because I just don't have time. But once I'm done mowing and we have deer coming in, then I'll have more time, and I'm going to can a bunch of meat because I don't want it all in the freezer. But for now, we're going to vacuum seal this. So I usually just date it the day I shot the deer and the state, and then I put what it is. So for this one, 9/14/24, New Jersey, stew meat. There's no rhyme or reason to this too. I mean, if you have a huge family and you're going to make big meals, then use either pint bags. I've got gallon bags. I've got quart bags. They're twice as big as the pint bags. So just grab the bag that you think. I mean, a lot of times it's just me and Sarah, and sometimes my two youngest boys are here too. So usually a pint bag is good enough for some hibachi meat or stew meat. But you know, if you make something bigger, you just grab 2 bags. Get it in there. You only want it about 2/3 full. Get it in the vacuum sealer. I don't know if you can see this exactly, but you just slide it in, close it on there, push the button, and it's pulling all the air out of the bag. And then once you hear the motor stop, it's now not pulling air out and it's sealing. And it'll put a heat seal right across the top of the bag. I don't know if you can see that or not. And this is vacuum sealed. And then it just goes down the freezer. The other reason you mark them, well, a couple reasons. You don't want to get meat that's too old. 2 years is usually what we do, and then we get rid of it. We try and beat that. We try not to ever throw it away. It's a shame. But like my 2023 meat, so we're now in 2024. If we're not eating it all, I start to give it away to people. Give it away to people I know who ran out of venison, or some elderly people I know who love venison, can't get out in the woods anymore. We'll give them, you know, big grocery bag full of venison meat, and that usually lasts them the whole year. So, oh, well, that's with a whole deer. Yeah, sometimes I didn't do it this trip because I only got 1 deer. Next trip, I plan on going down and shooting 2 doe, and I'm gonna at least give one of them away. I might even give both of them away. Depends on how many deer I shoot that weekend. To Hunters for the Hungry in New Jersey. They have a great program. You literally take the intestines out of the deer, you bring the whole deer to the butcher, and the butcher skins it, chops it up, puts it into packages like this, and it goes to needy families in the state of New Jersey. So we do that. But with our meat here at home, we donate it, but you date it so you can watch it. I actually have 2 freezers, so all my 2024 is in one freezer, all my 2023 is in the other freezer. And as this year goes on, the 2023 meat, if we don't eat it all, or if I see I still have too much, I'll give it away. And once it's gone, then I'll put the 2024 meat in the smaller freezer, and we start the process all over again. So nothing goes to waste. It goes to somebody. Might not be us, but it goes to somebody.